It's now my pleasure to introduce the outstanding alumnus for 2010. This is a tradition we began several years ago, and the person this evening fits right up there with all those wonderful people who have been recognized in the past. Keith Caudill is the Executive Director of the Mountain Arts Center and has served in that capacity since 2003. Prior to this position, he served as the first chairman of the board for the Kentucky Opry. In his position, Keith has been instrumental in developing arts education programming designed to improve CAT's test scores. The former owner of a retail music store, he developed a national reputation as a specialist in computer keyboard and MIDI technology. In addition to this successful business, he began a cable television channel featuring local events and information. KCTV was considered groundbreaking television as a model for cable channels around the state, and the format is still used today. A graduate of Wheelwright High School and Prestonsburg Community College, Caudill went on to attend Morehead State University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in business administration. He and his wife, Kathy, a music teacher, are the parents of one son, Corey, a professional musician in Nashville, Tennessee. Please join me in welcoming Keith Caudill, the outstanding alumnus for 2010 and your commencement speaker.
Okay, is this the spot where the red paint comes pouring down on me like in that movie Carrie? Because if it is, man, I've got something for you guys. Red leader to Sky King. The fox has left the hen house. Call off the chickens. I repeat, call off the chickens. I get it. This is where Ashton Kutcher runs in and tells me I've been punked. You really want me to speak?
Okay, Keith, what have you done this time? Yeah, now I bet you wish you'd have written a speech instead of spending all your time dealing with those chickens, Mr. Everybody's Out to Get Me. Okay, don't panic. You can do this. Just think. I know. I'll just think of a speech I've done before and give it. They'll never know the difference. A speech I've done before. A speech I've done before. Oh, I got it. Okay, here goes.
What I Did on My Summer Vacation by Keith Caudill.
Oh, man, that's not going to work. Oh, you're losing them. Okay, don't panic. Don't panic. Just focus. Focus. Echo. Did I lock my car? Because from the looks of some of these people up here, yeah, I locked it. Keith, pay attention. Now concentrate. Hey, is that girl checking me out? Hey, I've still got it, man. Wait a minute. That's a dude. Keith, wear your glasses from now on. Oh, man, I bet Dr. Edwards is really upset. Okay, just casually glance over there and see if he's angry. I wonder what he's thinking right now.
Man, I wish I was on the golf course right now. Did I lock my car? Because from the looks of some of these people up here, yeah, I locked it. Echo.
Oh, man, he is so focused on me. He's going to be hanging on every word I say. Okay, don't panic. Here's the plan. Just talk about your experiences at college. You know, before it was big Sandy Technical Community, Sandy's big College of Community Technical, back when it was PCC. Why did they change the name anyway? Okay, just treat it the way college kids answer an essay question. You know, repeat the question and then BS for a couple of pages. They'll relate. Oh, I remember speech class. That's it. Do the same BS, just sprinkle in some famous names. They'll never know what hit them. Okay, here goes.
We need you to quickly get out in the world and do something meaningful and important. Because if they are recognizing me as a distinguished alumni, they are really running out of options. I mean, I just beat out the guy that started the businesses that do the combination car washes and tanning beds, okay? That's where I got in here. So, but, I understand. And in the words of Bill Clinton, let me just say, I feel your pain. Bill Clinton, he was the president. Monica Lewinsky. I see the crowd I'm dealing with here. They seem to say Monica, okay. Well, I kind of have to agree with you a little bit, but, I've got 10 more minutes to kill, so let me just mention a few things, a few observations, that nothing groundbreaking or profound or earth-shattering or anything, but maybe a couple of things that might help you later on that you can use. One of those things is make your boss look good. Make them look good. Don't be afraid to give somebody else a little credit. You're liable to be in a support position at some point in your life, and it's going to be advantageous to let somebody else take a little bit of credit for your work, or maybe you need to give somebody else credit for your work. Like I said, there's a possibility you'll be in a support role, and I know what you're thinking. Isn't this guy supposed to be up here, telling us to be leaders and, go out there and be all you can be? Guess you guys are rethinking this right now. I know, you're thinking, you're also been here, you said, I've worked hard for 2 years and to get this degree. Well, okay, some of you 3 and 4 years, but okay, to get this degree. And the best that they could do is the Mountain Art Center guy. I mean, what's he going to do? He's going to come up here and, tell us about upcoming events, or maybe where the exits are or something like that. By the way, the exits are over here. We have 2 on the side and 2 at the top. But anyway, supposed to do that anyway. But, if you become a person in a support role, that's not necessarily a bad thing in many cases. And a lot of times organizations depend on those support people for their success. And I'll give a few examples. Dr. Martin Luther King was a great and wonderful man and did many great things, but he was not the only person in the entire civil rights movement. When somebody said Dr. King organized a march, well, there was a lot of support people in the background, getting the transportation together, designing or going over the marching route, making sure the media was there. A lot of things had to happen to make that march successful. And all those people were pointing at Dr. King and saying, Dr. King organized this march. They knew that by promoting Dr. King, they were advancing their cause. Now, that's not to take away from Dr. King. I mean, he certainly fulfilled his end of the bargain, but I'm just saying there's a lot of people out there that played a support role that got little acknowledgement or little credit for their work, but because of their work, a lot of positive changes were made in our society. I also wonder if at that time, if there was some people in the background of the civil rights organization that was going, that were a little jealous, and they were saying things, Dr. King, he doesn't come up with all those ideas. I wrote that speech. I have a dream. That was me. I think we'd look at it different. I think about, what if Dr. Edwards were to say, let's have a fundraising gala. Well, all these people, they get out there and they get going and they start renting rooms and decorating and sending out invitations. All these things have to happen to have this fundraising gala. And inevitably, there's going to be somebody come up to Dr. Edwards after it's over and say, you know, Dr. Edwards, you really know how to put on a great fundraising gala. You know, I just love the work you're doing at the school and the great things that you're doing over there. Dr. Edwards says, thank you. I'm glad you feel that way. Now get your checkbook out and follow me. You know, all the support people have to understand that by promoting Dr. Edwards and what Dr. Edwards represents, he was then able to raise thousands of dollars for the school. I don't know that donors would have been quite so giving if they would have heard people saying, you know, he didn't do any of this. I made the cookies, you know. But we always count on those people to advance our cause and help us. It's okay to give them a little credit and build them up every once in a while. One more thing, and I'll leave it alone. Many of you know that I'm the straight man for a comedian named Monroe. Now, if you don't know who Monroe is, just picture Dr. Edwards with a red cap and a little bird on the hat and suspenders. And that's Monroe. Normally, Monroe and I will get together and put his routines together and work as a partnership. But one particular occasion, I actually wrote a skit for him. A routine has lasted about 20 minutes. Well, I just give it to Monroe, and we do it that night, and he does a great job, as he always does, delivers the lines the way he does. He just does a wonderful job at that. And after the program, there's about 3 or 4 people standing around me, and they say, you know, how does that Monroe do it? How does he come up with that stuff? Where does he get that from? Well, you know, I'm saying, you know, I don't know where he gets that from. You know, he's just crazy, man. I mean, he's out there. Well, by doing that, we got 3 more gigs and a television appearance because I was perpetuating what they believed Monroe was. And not to take away from Monroe, he does a great job at that. And I wonder if I would have been sitting up there going, you know, pat me on the back. I was the one that wrote that stuff. Would we have got the gigs, the extra gigs, and the TV appearance? So I don't know. Sometimes you need to let some people be. You need to be in a support role, but do it in a way that helps advance your cause. Now, if you're in the situation where you're a boss or a leader, I hope you are, don't be afraid to acknowledge the people around you, your support people. And don't worry that, you know, if you give them a little pat on the back that they're going to get to the point where they think they can't be replaced. It doesn't work that way. You know, let them know. And at this time, I'd like to say, what a great staff we have here at the Mountain Arts Center. We do more events here with half the people than any other performing arts center in the state. They take ownership in this place, and we have everybody from Brett Michaels, rock stars, down to preachers, or I shouldn't say down to, but from rock stars to preachers that tell us how much they enjoy doing events here because our staff is so accommodating. We couldn't do this event today without them. Now, they're not going to be out in the hallway meeting me later on saying, you know how you said you couldn't do that without us? We want a raise and we want some extra days off. It doesn't work that way. So don't be afraid to let other people look good every once in a while if it advances your cause. When I was thinking about what I wanted to talk to you about today, which is about 5 minutes ago, I thought to myself about my experience at college, and I said, now just what was it that they learned me at that college? Besides good English. And I'll be perfectly honest, I don't know that there was a whole lot of information that I come away with that I've been able to use, like Edgeworth Bowley box or psychoanalysis versus behaviorism or, you know, early impressionism, you know. But there was a couple of things that they taught me at this school that I've used the rest of my life. And one of them is, I now know, and from this experience, I don't know everything. And I realize that the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know everything. You know, Einstein once said that knowledge is like a beam of light. Einstein, he was a scientist. Monica Lewinsky. Okay. Well, Einstein said that knowledge is like a beam of light. You know, the beam of light is what you know, and outside that beam, the perimeter of darkness is what you don't know. Well, as the beam gets bigger, then so does the perimeter of darkness. So the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And I've become comfortable with the fact that I don't know everything. Not only do I not know everything, I don't need to know everything. And it's because of the second thing that I learned at this school. And it's the most important thing, and it's impacted me more than anything. College taught me how to find out what I need to know. And, you know, when I started a little cable television channel back in 1984, BI, that's before internet, and I'd never been in a TV station in my life. I started to build a recording studio, and I'd only been in a recording studio one time in my life. And I was able to ask the right questions. I knew how to find out what I need to know. And why is this important to you? It's because in today's society, in today's marketplace, if you want a competitive advantage, you need to be an expert. Now, if you become an accountant, you need to also be an expert on the technology used in your endeavor. If you become an accountant and use a particular kind of software, learn that software, become an expert on that software. If you're an auto mechanic and learn the diagnostics machine that you plug into the engine, become an expert on that. I'll give you an example. If two people are applying for an administrative assistance position, and one person looks to me and, they're both equal candidates. They type the same amount of words. They're both equal. And I point at the copier and I say, you see that copier? And one of them will say, I can make copies. And the other person says, isn't that a Konica Copymaster 2000? I say, yes. And they say, well, I can copy, I can collate, I can congregate, I can conjugate, I can discombobulate, and I can disassociate, and I know 20 ways to remove a paper jam, which is using a paper clip and a nail file. Well, guess who's going to get that job? And you're probably thinking, how do I become an expert? Man, I've worked 2 years to get this degree. Okay, 4 years. Okay. I've worked too hard to get this degree. How do I become an expert? Well, I'm going to share the secret of becoming an expert, and this is my gift to you. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because never in my life, I'm honored to be here, and never in my life would I've ever dreamed that I would get to speak at a commencement. So I want to share this with you. The only thing that I ask is that when I give you this secret, it doesn't go outside of these doors. Because if we give it to everybody, then everybody's going to have a competitive advantage, and we're not going to be any better than anybody else. So the secret to becoming an expert on the technology in whatever field you decide to go in, read the manual. Yeah, I heard about 4 shoe guys, and about half these people up here rolled their eyes and said, duh. How many of you folks have your VCRs flashing 12 o'clock? Right, yeah. Your cell phone has more computing power than the early space shuttles. Certainly more computing power than the rockets that sent men to the moon. And yet, all we use them for is to make phone calls. Some of us will take a few pictures, but we don't know how to download them to our computer. We just don't read the manual. I'm surprised at how many people don't read the manual. When I was in the early stages of computer music and synthesizers, I would get calls from all over the place. Nashville, a guy calls me from Texas one day. He says, I'm having this problem. I think somebody told me you could help me. And I listened to the problem. I said, okay, you go down and you press this button and you go back 2 pages and you hit rewind and there you go. And I got him through his problem. And after the conversation, he said, how do you know so much about this stuff? Well, I'm on the phone. I want to say, expert. In reality, it was right on page 35. Right there it is. If you have this problem, you go to hit this button, you go back 2 pages, you hit rewind, and there's your problem solved. I'm just amazed that people just don't read the manual. And now we have the internet to work with. Do yourself a favor. Let Facebook rest for a few minutes and get on there and watch some tutorials about the things that you're doing right then. There's a ton of information out there. So become an expert. Now, let me recap. Make your boss look good, BS, BS. I don't know everything, but I know how to find out what I need to know. BS. Become an expert. And I've dropped a few names. Let's see. Bill Clinton, Dr. King, Einstein, Dr. Edwards. Okay. I'm going to end with a quote by Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan was the voice of a generation, folk singer. Monica Lewinsky. Okay. I know you're thinking, well, everybody ends their talk in a quote maybe or something, and how cliche. And, you're probably right. But I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do mine in Bob Dylan voice. So. May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. Stay forever young. Thank you very much.